Welcome to Veteran State of Mind. I'm your host, Geraint Jones. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. Thanks for coming along. If you've been here before, guys, good to have you back. Hope you've been enjoying the episodes we've had out in the last couple of weeks. We're trying to crank it up a notch, get a couple of episodes out to you a week, because I know a lot of you are in lockdown, and those of you who are not in lockdown, you're working hard, aren't you? So, going to keep you company, doing whatever it is you're doing. I want to give a big shout out before we begin the podcast to our friends at the Royal British Legion, because not only do they make the podcast possible, but they're also the ones who put us in touch with today's guest, who is an absolute fucking legend. So thank you, Royal British Legion, for doing what you do. If you want to know more about them, guys, just search for Royal British Legion. Tag them up in the posts that we put on social media. They are doing business as usual. A lot of people are struggling at the moment financially, unfortunately, and British Legion, they got you covered. So head in there, check them out, see what they're doing for veterans and their families. A lot of good work as usual. Podcast is also brought to you today by Altberg Boots. Guys, you know I love Altberg Boots. Why do I love Altberg Boots? Because I did 3 tours with them. In fact, it's fair to say I am closer to my Altberg Boots than I am to most of you lot. I love them. Why? Because they look alley and because they never let me down. I got good ankles, which is more than can be said for the rest of my body. If you are working in law enforcement, if you are working in the military, if you just want a good pair of walking boots, check out Altberg at www.altberg.co.uk. ALTBERG. Check them out. Get yourself a pair. And if you do get yourself a pair, send us in pictures too. This podcast, it's also brought to you by Frontier Risks Group, home of the world's leading practical training course in security risk management consultancy. Frontier Risks Group is an amalgamation of a number of leading companies in their fields, guided by a team of equal experience and expertise in their respective domains, from security and crisis management, corporate risk, intelligence and analysis, compliance, workplace investigations, trauma response, and training consultancy. They've got guys who have completed their course in some of the biggest companies in the world, including Deloitte, Netflix, BBC, CNN. They're all over the place, basically. Travel expert companies, you name it, they're doing it. And if you're a veteran, guys, then their course is something you should definitely check out, regardless of your rank. So head over to Frontier Risks. That's frontierrisks.com. Check them out. They're also on Instagram at Frontier Risks Group. It's a bit of a mouthful. They do the business, though. While we're here and we're talking about veteran-owned, veteran-operated groups, I just want to give a shout-out to Combat Fuel, because they sent me a tub of vegan protein, because I like to use vegan protein. I'm not vegan myself, but I'll tell you this, it is a lot easier on your guts than whey protein. So if you are in lockdown right now, it's probably a good time to switch to the old vegan protein before, gas the rest of the house. They also have a bunch of other supplements on there, so check them out at Combat Fuel. And I'll say the vegan protein, salted caramel, it is very, very tasty indeed. I have been smashing it. Right, what else we got here? Brothers in Arms, that's my book. A book, what I did right about Afghanistan and about my comrades in Afghanistan. A lot of you guys have already supported the hardback and the audio book, and I thank you very much for that. The book comes out in paperback on June the 11th, and I have something to ask of you guys, which is if you could pre-order the book, if you have the spare pennies, if you could pre-order it, that would really, really, really help, because I'd love to get the book into the bestseller list. Why? Because it'd be good for my ego. And why also? Because it would just be great to get the fucking story out there, because there's a lot of the chapters in there which aim towards mental health, and I think it could do some good. So I've already been paid for it, so it doesn't really make a difference to me one way or the other, to be quite honest. But I would love to get it out there, guys. We have a good number of listeners on this podcast. If everyone buys a book, it'll be a bestseller and it'll be high up the list. So if everyone could do that, I will fucking love you for it. And I probably will do some kind of sexual favours. Not sure on the severity of those, but we can discuss that later. Probably depend on the number of copies you pre-order. Anyway, without further ado, today's guest, he's definitely someone you'd like to do a sexual favour for, because he is an absolute legend. One of my favourite people that I've met in the last few years. Absolute legend of the guy. Served in Iraq with the PWRR. He went to Afghanistan with them too. And you know what? I was going to go on a bit of a longer intro, but what's the point? Because he's here to talk about it, isn't he? So, without further ado, put your hands together, take your fingers out your bum, and say hello to one of my favouriteest people in the veteran charity space and any other kind of space he wants to get into because he's bloody handsome, Mr. Daniel Arnold. Dan Arnold, welcome to the podcast. Welcome, mate. Good to have you. Good to see your face.
Dude.
Looking radiant. You got,
Cheers, man.
got a good
my
smile.
COVID glow.
The COVID glow. I like that, mate. Might have to fucking trademark that one before we go to air. And anybody else takes it. How's things going, mate? Everything all right in lockdown, in quarantino?
Yeah, all right. I think I'm the same as most people, really. I have my good weeks and I have my not so good weeks.
And you have the weeks where you wank yourself into a
climbing the walls, going crazy, snapping everyone within breathing space of me. But keeping busy with work, man. We're flat out.
It's one of the benefits of having been on tour, though, isn't it? Is like you've always got, no matter what, there's always that litmus test of that comparison of, well, 2 months. Like, let's be honest, mate. We're not having to do 2 on 2 off in a Sangha in the 50-degree heat. So it could be worse. Don't mean I'm not going to complain about it, though.
No, completely. But yeah, there's no IED threat. There's actual half-decent scoff, and I've got access to internet and a lumpy fronted one at home as well. So morale couldn't be better.
Yeah, see, I don't have that, mate. My socks have been taking a fucking... socks have been taking a hell of a pounding. To be honest, I've got to the point now, without trying to scare away the listeners, because we do have some important stuff to discuss, but they know that because I've done an intro for this, like... just haven't talked to females, like, really. Like, I haven't been at bars. I'm a single gentleman, you know, and it's at the point now where even the socks are safe, because I'm just like, the testosterone levels right now they're that of, I don't know, something that don't have any testosterone is what they are, because it's just, you're not in those environments, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to bars, not going to clubs, not seeing scantily clad people. So yeah, it's, what I'm trying to say, mate, is I'm suffering more than anybody else on the planet right now.
I hear you. Point. It's going to be a turbulent time, because you're not going to want to jump on kind of Tinder or Grindr after this, because everyone's just the ultimate catfish. No one looks like their profiles.
Mate, hey, also, I found out the other day, devastated, that I've been paying a paying subscription for Hinge. I obviously smashed when I signed up for that, wasn't I? And I've been paying for a dating app while I've been in lockdown. What a mug.
Love that.
Right, mate. Let's bring people up to speed on your military background, mate. Let's give them some resume, as they say in America.
So, I joined in 2003. Pretty much all I wanted to do straight from school was go into the green suit, and kind of initially, weirdly, and not many people know this, and don't judge me for it, I wanted to be a chef in the army. At school.
You said what you said there, mate. You go, don't judge me for this, and then you said, I wanted to be a chef in the army. Like, I'm sorry.
Hear me out.
I can do a lot, mate, but I cannot do that for you.
As a teenager, I was mad into my catering and I wanted to be a chef.
Right.
And I thought that chefing in the army was a really good kind of career. And then I went and did like one of them look at life school things.
Yeah.
And like hung around with them all for a week. And I was like, negative.
Did you think you were going to have like a frying pan in one hand, Jimpy in the other, and you just be like putting belts down as you're like tossing pancakes?
100% egg banjos while laying down a rapid rate of fire, and it just wasn't that.
Yeah. So I was just, you mentioned 2003. Was that because of was it seeing Iraq on TV? Because the invasion looked pretty sexy, didn't it?
Didn't it just? Yeah.
It looked pretty sexy. There was a lot of war boners flying around.
I don't remember that being part of my thought process. I just always, from being that kid in the field with a stick going pew pew, just always wanted that. My whole family are Navy, being from Portsmouth, and it just wasn't in my stars. I was like, no, I want the green suit. Went in the careers office, sat down, said I want to join the army. Bloke was from PWRR. He put a video in front of me, a DVD, and like this warrior comes steaming in, does an endo, and everyone decamps and starts pairs fire maneuver. And I was just like,
I gotta say, mate, I don't know how anyone wants to join anything other than the armoured infantry. Well, I get the paras, but if you're going to be in the infantry, armoured infantry is just so sexy, isn't it?
Nah, see, I was light roll all the way.
Yeah. So he lied to you with the warrior, basically.
Yeah. Basically.
Never heard of a recruiter lying to someone before, mate.
Yeah, that is unheard of. I must have had a rough one.
Yeah. So it was kind of like You were were you a bit of a contrarian kid then? It was like everyone else has been in the Navy, so I'm going to be in the Army. Do you reckon if they'd all been in the Army, you'd have wanted to be in the Navy?
Oh,
You could, mate,
100%
you could be a
still to
chef
this
in the
day.
Navy. You could be, what's his name? Casey Ryback or whatever his name is. Casey Ryback. And Under Siege. If you guys haven't watched Under Siege, watch it. There's some nice big titties in there too. You'll enjoy it.
Watch it. It's the most nailed chef in the world.
He was a Navy SEAL, becomes a chef, saves the world. Legend. So, was it what you expected when you got there, mate? Into the Army, into the PWRR? Which battalion was it? Because there's a couple. Is it the same one as... Is that which one's that? Same one as Brian or Sean? Was it?
No, Woody was first.
They were first. What about Sean?
Sure.
Well, they're both first,
as
were they?
well. Good boys. But second. Yeah, I loved it as soon as I got there. I think I turned up rear party while the lads were just come back from a 6-month in Northern Ireland. They did a Dungannon 6-monther. And I was still a sprog at the time, so I think I ended up going straight on the gate. Love that. Then pretty much as soon as they got back, we started pre-deployment training for Iraq.
Which Telic,
yeah, that was decent. So yeah, we went Telic.
Sorry, I was going to say, which Telic was it? Which number?
5.
So right, yeah. So how do you feel then when you got to the battalion? You're a bit of a sprog. They've come back from Northern Ireland. Obviously, Iraq, the invasion's over. The occupation is going on, or whatever you want to call it. I'll call it occupation. How are you feeling at that kind of time about going on ops? Because things have kind of calmed down a bit, hadn't they? There'd been that kind of crazy time on with the 1st Battalion, with that was it 2004 on Telic 4, but things had started to calm down a bit, hadn't they? So did you feel like you'd missed out? Did you feel like maybe you'd missed a shot?
I don't know, actually, because we were doing our pre-deployment training, and I remember being in an area, we were based up Midlands at the time, we were doing public order training drills, had like the shields and everything out, and we were all called in for like a Scale A muster, and they were like, get in here. And they put the big TV on, and it was the Americans sweeping through Fallujah, and like, that was naughty. We were all just looking at it like, whoa, that is proper. And yeah, when we got out there, it transpired not to be that really. We really did do a peacekeeping, supporting resupplies and kind of stagging on prisons and things like that. So it didn't transpire. But I think like most of us, we all joined knowing what we wanted to do. And I was mega excited and just wanted to get out there and kind of get at it. You know what I mean? That young kind of immature exuberance where I was like, I just want to get out there and go for it. And it never happened that time.
Part of the problem with Iraq, though, I mean, was the fact that in one part of Iraq, you'd be like Americans online smashing artillery, air power, walking through a city, and then in another part, you'd be like Guard Alpha, public order, don't fire on anyone. And it's like, well, there was no coherent strategy for the entire place, was there? It seemed a bit. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, you know what? It's kind of like what's going on with the situation at the moment in America. It's like there's no, like, it seems very hard for Americans to come up with one strategy that everyone's going to, like, one follows. And then, you know, in Iraq, you had the extra problem then of having the, all these different nationalities in. And because, like, I've got a guest coming on after we've been on today who was at the same period as you're talking about right now. Bro, he was in full-on fucking Black Hawk down-level fights in Baghdad at the same time as what you're talking about. So it makes me wonder, like, is it because my thing is always, if you put out force, you'll get force back, right? I always think that this idea that you, like, you know, you might be able to scare them off on the day, but they'll be coming back for you. And I do think that really there was something to be said for the way that the British were handling things. Like, how did you feel with the locals? Did you feel like they wanted you to be there? Did you feel like there was like a... You know, did you feel like you weren't like necessarily the invader? Did you feel like you were a liberator? You know, talk us through a bit about that.
I think you're completely right in what you said. That really depends on the geography of the country. If you were down kind of, so we were in Shaiba. If you were just south of Shaiba, like milling around in like the rural countryside, you didn't feel that hostility. You went up to somewhere like Qasr Port or Baghdad and completely the tension changed, and you did feel like you were an outlaw and you were up against it. We never really had that much dramas with the locals. The only dramas we had was when the Americans had soured local relationships. So like one of the villages we used to transit through on the resupply runs, American Humvee just plowed over like a 6-year-old girl and just didn't stop and just carried on toe down. So then the next time one of our coalition patrols rolls through there, you can imagine what the reception was like.
Yeah, because that's the thing about those places as well, mate. It doesn't matter if, they don't need to be Al-Qaeda lined or like anything like that. If you've killed someone in that village, they all got fucking guns. You're gonna get the next group of people through are gonna get they're gonna get shot up.
Yeah,
or it's maybe next time you go through, they don't tell you about the IED that's up the road or stuff like that. That stuff really does matter. It's like you can be a jackfucker on your platoon in your patrol and run over a little girl or whatever, but then the next patrol through is gonna pay for that. Did you deal with like IEDs and stuff then? Because that was like that kind of period was it was like artillery shells, like a lot of like remote detonated artillery shells, things like that, wasn't it? Command wires, rather than the EFPs which came in later. So like, what was the kind of
amount of VBIEDs while we were out there?
Really?
So the front gate was taken out by like a petrol type tanker. Wasn't particularly my company, but one of the companies was on the front gate. Petrol tanker pulled up to like the VCP. Just as it got a bit closer, boom, detonated itself as a multiple were going out in their kind of, luckily, snatch wagons, detonated right next to him, and quite a few of the lads were caught up in that. Command wire IEDs under culverts on the main, like MSRs and things like that, pretty standard operations for the day. Like kinetic firefights weren't so much of the battle then, it was kind of that IEDs, VBD IEDs. And
yeah, I'm always jealous of like like Dan and Brian, these guys from like your 1PWR. I'm always fucking jealous of them because they talk about like the firefights they're on the floor and not really having an IED threat. I think, fuck, that sounds epic, doesn't it? Like, you'd love to be in that, wouldn't you? Like, and then you've got on the other hand, it's like you said, like 5 and 20s and stuff. When you think back on it now, it's kind of hilarious, isn't it? It's like, oh, so how'd you find IEDs? Well, you get out and you look, right, what you use to look, what kind of equipment you got. Well, there's these things called eyeballs.
Yeah.
You use them and you can kick stuff with your feet too. And like, that's how you look for fucking IEDs, mate. It's mental, isn't it?
And then the opposite of that was Afghanistan, where you had the IED threat and the kinetic like firefights. Yeah. And 1 minute you'll be doing methodical 5 and 20s. The next minute it goes down and it gets kinetic. And you just go, suck it and see. I'm bound into cover. And if it goes, it goes.
Yeah. So what did you think about, how did you enjoy your time in Iraq? Did you find it was a bit like, did you feel a bit let down? Like, because personally I kind of felt a bit let down by Iraq. Like, because it wasn't, not to say it wasn't dangerous, because it was fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
But I wanted that, I had friends that were on Telic 4, people at Simic House and stuff. That's what I wanted. And I'm sure you probably know a lot more of them. So, like, how did you feel coming back off that first tour? Did you feel like you had any dramas? Were you happy? How was Dan Arnold feeling? What was in the mind of Dan Arnold?
I don't know. For me, it was a bit of a up bronze, up massive kind of tour, wasn't it?
It was good for that, wasn't it?
Just hitting the gym, hitting the baby oil or the gun oil outside the compound. But yeah, I guess in later years, I did kind of think to myself, when you hear all these stories and things coming out, and like Dan Mills writing books and hearing about all these kind of big kinetic mix-ups, and you think, oh, why didn't that happen to us? Because I think we caught a lull. Like when we were out there was a lull, and then literally the tour after us had a hell of a time.
Yeah. Well, it's the summer-winter thing as well, and summer's definitely went off there more. Dave Radban was telling me, mate, I was sat opposite him. I could have like throttled him. I was so jealous. He was telling me about that they had one firefight where these like suicide bombers were literally sprinting towards him and just exploding and stuff. I'm like, that sounds mega. That sounds, you're supposed to be like, oh, that's terrible. I'm like, what? Where were they? Where were the jogging suicide bombers for this? I mean, we all know on the flip side, it could just be that you end there then, because what you're never jealous of, you're like, oh, I'm jealous of that day when there was a terrible day. But we all have terrible days on tours, don't we? And you kind of want it to be balanced up with that day that you saw. Like, mate, have you ever read that fucking, what's his name? Kyle, the American Sniper.
Yeah, Kyle.
Fuck yeah, we'll show ourselves up here, mate. Well, I have to edit this, but right. His book's called American Sniper. Chris Kyle, that's it. Mate, he's talking about one bit in there where he's shooting people who are using beach balls to try and raft across the river, and he's just shooting them with the beach balls. I'm like, where were these clowns when I was on fucking tour? Do you know what I mean? Like, with us, mate, they were firing through little fucking holes in big, thick compound walls. They weren't on fucking beach balls in the middle of a river. I'm like, I'm not doubting that it's Jen for a moment. I'm sure it did happen, but
Yeah.
I've got mates that have told me about people kneeling in the middle of an empty street with an RPG. I'm like, where were these people? Where were they? With us? Like, I never saw that kind of stuff, mate. So you must have liked the army, mate, because you stuck around for a bit. Because you do
10 years in the end.
Yeah.
I was med discharged. I don't know. It's a bit of a mute question.
Well, I'll tell you what. Tell us about Afghan then. Tell us, like, before we get to the discharge bit. Talk us through your kind of Afghan days. And the reason, just for anyone listening, the reason we're kind of going through these a bit quick is because I want to get to the all call signs part of the story. Yeah. So let's have a chat about Afghan then, mate.
So in between Iraq and Afghanistan, I did a 2.5-year residential in Northern Ireland. What more do you say about that? We closed down Op Banner, really. So that was it was pretty something and nothing. But yeah, we started training.
So what you're saying is you, Daniel, brought peace to Northern Ireland.
I don't know. Is it peaceful?
Well, yeah. Where is peaceful, mate? It's nowhere peaceful, is it? It's an illusion.
Exactly, yeah. But we started training to go to Cyprus for the Theatre Reserve Battalion. So
sweet.
24-hour readiness to move anywhere that was going off. And we all rotated through Afghanistan.
Yeah. That's a pretty cool job, that, though, mate. Because
Yeah.
I know the Royal Welsh lads that did that. And again, it sounded pretty fucking cool, that, mate. Diving in and out were you doing a couple of months here, a couple of months there?
Yeah, 4. So
Nice.
4 months out, then move. So our first tour, we went out to relieve the American Marines. So it was like their maneuver support unit, and they'd been out there a year. So we went through all the usual, went to Bastion, kind of got told we were going to Garmasir to take over these Marines. With Dick to go down with a couple of others to do the familiarization and handover takeover. And just there was something like across the AO, they had something like 1,300 troops with helos, these like great big huge mastiff looking vehicles with like rollers on the front.
Fuck, I forget what they're called.
The name.
But they got MRAPs as well as the other one. Or those, MRAPs as well. Yeah,
I think that's what they were called, weren't it?
I don't know. I've seen the ones with the rollers as well, though, because we had one of those once. Although I'll tell you this, mate, I was behind them. We hit an IED, so they're not they're not foolproof, unfortunately. But, yeah.
So they had 1,300 troops, and we went down there and took over with a company group.
Nice, British Army. We're not overstretched. There's no such thing as overstretch.
We were good for about 2 weeks until the locals clicked on that. There was no helo support. There was no vehicle moves. Everything was being done by foot patrol. And then basically you had like an imaginary northing we could have spray painted on the floor. And every day you stepped over this northing, shit got kinetic.
It's, you know what's kind of like this is what pisses me off though, mate, is so what year are we talking about this? Are we talking about the 2010s, 2011s here?
7, 8.
Oh, 7, 8. All right. So they were there. Who's that?
2008, I'm sure.
Yeah, right, because in 2006, they sent in an understrength company to take over from an armoured company of Danes. And this is the book that I did with Major Adam Jowett, No Way Out. And that ended badly. And the fact that they're doing the same thing 2 years later then, it's fucking criminal, mate, honestly. It's mental. It's like, all right, you made the mistake the first time. Mistakes happen. You're doing it 2 years later, you fucking mugs. What's going on?
Yeah, completely.
It's mad, mate. It's mad, mate.
Yeah, it was a bit of a double-sided kind of battle because we were trying to do the hearts and minds, and we started off peacekeeping, and I can't remember how long into that. And bearing in mind it was a short tour, we had Card Alpha pulled, and we got go for it.
Yeah, was it 49 Alpha?
Yeah, so we went straight in warfighting, and we weren't that far from the Pakistan border, so we used to get a threat coming up across the border. So they'd come up, vehicles, dismount, take on some of our outposts, then recamp vehicles, and then go back below the border. So not only did we have the local insurgency threat that was kind of surrounding us, but we used to get them coming up from over the border, have a pop, couple of RPGs, bit of a disturbance, and then shoot back off. So
yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand, mate, how many, like, because people, one of the things I always have with my civvy mates is like, well, you were there in their country. I'm like, a lot of the fighters were there in someone else's country too. Like, a lot of the fighters are out of area fighters. A lot of them are Pakistani. A lot of them can come from all over, the kind of the Islamic world. A lot of, it wasn't like, right, this is this farmer. A lot of them weren't there from where they were born, I mean, some were, but they were your $10 Taliban who were taking a kind of pop at you. So how did you enjoy that?
Yeah, to start off with, and then no, for me that was a huge realization. So you saying earlier, like, kind of like, did you wish like that you had the kinetic things? And yeah, it was really good to kind of get in your first like proper what we'd been taught would be a contact, like returning fire, like going for it, pairs breaking down, and that quite quickly the novelty of that wore off for me, and it became almost just like this overwhelming concern as like a lance jack as I was then. Like you've got these people under you. I guess I kind of started doubting my own ability that I was going to be able to do it to keep these guys alive, and it just went on. Like there was a couple of events that like I think every time it massively went off, I was on the ground for some reason and something would happen. I'd done my med course previously, so I ended up doing a lot of like the patrol medic stuff as well, like your muckers getting kind of incoming blown up, like some pretty gnarly stuff. So just switching hats from like controlling a fire team to then being pulled in and being wrist deep in your mate sort of thing, it kind of really spun me out.
Well, were you operating on like a traditional 3 sections in the platoon? Were you operating like that? Like, were you doing almost conventional, or were you operating in multiples? Or
yeah, we went multiples. Yeah, so we went 2 multiples, split up, plus fire support. So in the area, we had a couple of outposts that were built by the Redcoats when they were out there all them many moons ago.
Mad,
so
we
used to,
and it mad, like, and it mad, mate. We had Russian positions as well that we used. So you probably saw Russian positions there too. But it just tells you, like, when you see that, and this is why I think fucking politicians should go on the ground. Because you go there, and you see a position that used to be there, and you go, right, that didn't work 200-something years ago. Why do we think it's going to work now?
Yeah,
like, why?
Yeah,
and it doesn't mean it's like, maybe there's a way. But it didn't work then. Why is it going to fucking work now? Well, because we're better trained. No, we were the best trained army in the world then. Like, it's just
like the senior commanders when we were out there, the senior Taliban commanders used to be Mujahideen, who were trained by us to fight the Russians many, many years ago. So
yeah, and they're good, mate. And this stuff, it's a bunch of fucking guys with towels on their head. No, they're fucking good. They're professional fighters. They don't do 6-month tours. They do. I've joined the jihad, and then I die. And some of them, their first time fucking turning up for a fight might be their last. But some of these guys, put this into perspective, listeners, some of these guys have been fighting pretty much continuously, because after the Russians, they then fought a civil war against the Northern Alliance. And also, one thing that they do very well in jihad circles, you know how we have exchange programs with the Yanks and stuff? Fucking jihadis do it. You can go off, right, I'm going to go, oh, right, Bosnia's going on, I'm going to go to jihad in Bosnia for a bit. Philippines is going on, I'm going to go to jihad in Philippines for a bit. They fucking go around, so they're picking up all these tactics everywhere. And then, like, so some of these guys, some of these commanders have been continuously at war. By the time Daniel Arnold is there in 2008, they've been continuously at war for 25 years. Not in the army for 25 years, at war for 25 years.
Yeah.
Mental.
And I think in their back garden as well, like they knew the area, they knew the killing areas. And like you were saying earlier, like early doors of Iraq and conventional warfare that we know is people like you have Green Army versus Black Army. Everyone looks the same there. You can walk through a village, as you'd have seen, and you'll be getting like locals waving at you, and the next minute they're picking up arms and taking you on, and you can't distinguish the threat between society. I'm sure you found the same as well. Like you go in, you take positions, you'd roll through positions, and when you get there, there'd be no enemy dead. There'd just be drag trails, and you'd be like, it was almost like in certain areas that we were up against ghosts, because we were like, I haven't seen anyone.
I never really saw many enemy dead, mate, because it was usually at a distance. It was usually at a distance, and like you said, they clean them up. You can see the locals coming in with wheelbarrows, barrowing them out and stuff. But yeah, it's not like, because the thing is with again IEDs threats and stuff. It's like, okay, you drop someone at a couple 100 meters, you're not going to go forward and do that, because you'd have to clear every meter between you and the enemy to get there. So I mean, there was areas where, and certain tours where people were doing compound clearing and stuff like that, but I don't think that was the case for most people. I think most people, like you said, you're going out on patrol, you're getting contacted, and then you're probably extracting. Kind of weird when you think about it. Like most fucking tours were just spent with guys patrolling out, taking contact, and then going back to the PV. It's kind of like, what was going on? Like, what was it?
my second night in country, the American Marines were like, come out with us. So I went out on a patrol with them. And it was an overt OP in the local village, just putting a presence in. Halfway through the night, massive, huge, great big kaboom. So we start stowing, getting ready to extract. They called it. In the morning, we walked back out, and there was probably a 6 foot by 3 foot crater in the main MSR that we patrolled in on. Turns out that two dickers had been watching us, saw us go in on this MSR and lay up, and were digging in an IED. One of them tripped as he was putting in the pressure plate. The old metal ball bearing come out, completed the circuit, and fragged them both into kind of little bits. So like, yeah, my second day in country was spent sorting out this clusterfuck of two own goals that were like no bigger than a bit of rump steak across 100 meters.
Fucking humping, mate. What was that? So that's what I think about it. It's just 12 years ago now. Does it seem like 12 years ago? When you're talking about that, then does it feel like it was 12 years ago? How old are you now? 30 or something?
34.
So you're 34. So that was a third of your life ago, or more of a third of your life ago. Mad. It's mad,
isn't it? Just mad. It is crazy. Sometimes it feels like it was just yesterday, and sometimes it feels almost like I never did that, like a different person did that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely, mate. I mean, usually for me, it's someone like Hugh Jackman. If I'm looking back in my mind, it's like the reality is, I weighed 150 pounds. I looked like a giant head on a lot. When I came back from Iraq, my mate said he saw me, and he said, "You look like just like a walking lollipop." Because I got a big skull, mate. You've seen it. You've touched it. And I was just so skinny after 2 tours in Iraq that I just looked like this walking lollipop. But like when we look back in my mind, that's the other thing. We kind of look back on it. You see yourself as you are now.
Yeah.
Kind of. But you weren't. You were a boy. You were a fucking boy. And that's something, mate. Did you ever look at Vietnam pictures and stuff on Instagram and think like, oh my God, these are kids?
Yeah, and then the reverse of that, you know, when people share pictures of operators from Northern Ireland back in the day, they all look
fucking hell.
They all look like old men. They look like they're 70, and I was like, hang on, he's 19, like Tash.
The Falklands lot, mate. The Falklands lot. What were they eating? What were they eating as kids? Like they look like, right. It's like, oh, I've had a solid diet of coal for the last 20 years. And I'm not talking about after they got there. I'm on about when they're boarding the ships to go. They're only 18, 19, mate. They fucking look like they've had a right hard life. I think there's like the other one as well, mate. I'm reading a book at the moment about Comanche Indians. So like, fucking hell, mate. Again, you want to talk about like, so you and me right now, 12 years ago, a lot, longer than that. We're talking nearly 20 years ago since for Iraq. That's a big portion of our lives. Some of the stuff I'm reading about these Comanches, mate, 150 years ago, some of the stuff that was going on in America, I won't go on about it on here, but I would recommend the book. It's called Empire of the Summer Moon. And you're like, fucking hell, things used to be brutal back in the day. When you think about it, like, what you and me went through in Iraq was like nearly 20 years ago, right? This was 150 years ago. You think it's not that long ago that people were fighting, like American settlers were fighting Indians and people were being fucking brutally murdered and stuff in places now where you go on holiday. It's mad. Yeah. It's just mad, mate. Like time is something that like I don't think any of us can really get our heads around time properly. I don't think we can. It's impossible because like it's true as well. I'm sure you'll fucking say this, especially with the old call sign stuff, which we'll segue into in a second, but definitely goes fast as you get older, doesn't it?
Yeah. Like, I mean, look at 2020. Spent most of it in lockdown. Everything's being cancelled, and before you know it, it'll be 2021, and you'll be like, "What?"
My dad said something to me the other day, made me feel that sad. Actually, he was like, "My dad's just kind of like semi-retired. It's his first year," and he was like, because he's like, what is he now, 60 something? He's like, I feel kind of like robbed of a year because like I know I don't have that many of them left. I'm like, fucking hell. And I feel that way at 36, mate. Like I'm very cognizant of the fact that we're gonna die. Like something I think about every day. Not like in a terrified way, but in a, oh, fucking hell, I'm going to die. That's a bit mad. You know what I mean? Talking of death and stuff, mate. Talking of thinking about things, talking about introspection. Do you want to talk about, because I know, like myself, you've struggled a bit after your tours. Yeah. So do you want to talk a bit about that, mate, before we talk about all call signs?
Yeah, so got back off tour and pretty instantly, I think I wasn't great, but I was living a couple of miles down the road from Iron Apple, so no one really thought any different of me going out every single night, till stupid o'clock in the morning and just being a bit of a lizard. Came back to the UK, and that really, really kind of spiraled. So I broke my back while in Cyprus after Afghan. So in 2010, I fractured my back.
How'd you do that?
Being a lunatic. No, so I well, looking back now, do you know, in the space of 6 months, I broke my tib, fib, and my back. Knowing what I know now about kind of PTSD and things, it's taking that needless risks, trying to replicate that kind of.
Also, you need to drink more milk.
Yeah, maybe.
No, that's a good point, mate. Because like you're saying, getting smashed all the time as well. Now you can see. At the time, you probably thought, "Oh, I'm just blowing off steam after tour."
Yeah. But then that segued into drugs. I had a really, really bad time of it. With
in Iron Apple?
No, when I came back to the UK, it was almost impossible to get on the island, which is probably a saving grace. But when I came back
crossing
to London,
Iron Apple off my holiday list, then.
When I came back and got to London, kind of drugs, partying, got divorced. Got married, got divorced. That, like, the ink was still wet. It was that good. And just really, really started spiraling, and then started to self-harm.
Really? Like what kind of thing? Cut in or what?
Yeah, so quite an impulsive thing one night, actually. I just sat there. I'd been out round of friends for a couple of beers, and I do genuinely mean a couple, not like a squaddy couple, like an actual couple. Yeah, I've only had a couple, had 12. No, and got in and just walked into my kitchen and had this urge to just cut myself. So I did. I took a bread knife out and opened up one of my arms. And when people asked me, they were like, "Did you want to kill yourself? Did you want to take your own life?" I say, "No, not at all." What I couldn't get was I had loads of things going on in my head, loads of noise, loads of emotions that I couldn't compute. I couldn't quantify why. So I gave myself, one, a pain outlet, and two, like a physical opening to the metaphor to allow stuff out. Do you know what I mean? Because I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't process it. And then that paved the way for a couple of years of kind of cutting and self-harming. I then got discharged in 2013, and in 2014 found myself looking down the barrel of a 6.5-year prison sentence for an aggravated assault and affray.
So how'd that happen? As if you just lost your shit on someone?
Yeah, on a
You don't have to go into details, mate, but basically you just overreacted, you reckon, with anger?
Yeah, just on a night out, someone came up. I don't know what had happened. Maybe something had happened earlier, but I was unbeknown. Started like chest poking me, and I was like, "You need to dress yourself away, otherwise it's going to end badly." They did, and then they came back, and read, lost it, tuned someone in, and was looking at 6.5 years inside behind the door, and that's really when I was like, "You need to get a grip."
So what? So like, did they take into account service and stuff like that? Like, how did you not? Because obviously you didn't do that stretch.
So there was quite a lot of physical injuries on this individual, and they were so pissed that once I tuned them in, I walked off. They got up and gobbed off to someone else, and they levered him. So couldn't actually be proven that I'd sustained the injuries on the individual. I tell you what, I was bloody lucky.
Yeah. I want to make a public service announcement. 2 public service announcements. Public service announcement number 1. Always try and work, as tempting as it is to fill people in, always try and walk away. Public service announcement number 2. If you fucking start chest poking someone and you get filled in, don't be a fucking cunt and then try and fucking sue them. It's your fault for starting the fucking fight. If you get filled in, take it like a fucking man or a woman. Take it like whatever you fucking identify as. But don't, unless you identify as a fucking coward. Like, if you this idea that people can start a fight and then they're the victim, mental. That's mental. If you gob off, if you're in traffic and you honk your phone and someone fucking fills you in, that's on you. Right? If you start road raging people and you get filled in, I told this to my brother before. I've been in the car with him, mate. He's fucking peeping his own. I'm like, if someone comes and fills you in now, I'm letting him. Right? Dave, if you're listening to this, you got to stop fucking beeping your own at people and shouting at them because you're going to get filled in, lad. So,
especially in London, you don't want to be doing that.
Mate, you don't know who. I had a fight with a fucking Uber driver, my Uber Eats driver recently in the States, and I thought afterwards that could have ended bad. That could have ended really badly, really badly. Was it worth it? Just because he called me a fucking arsehole? Was it worth me starting? Do you know what I mean?
Carrying over there, mate. Yeah,
it's not worth it, people. It's not worth it. If you want to have a fight, get down your fucking local gym and pick on someone there in a fucking ring. You know, but like what you're saying about the cutting is working with someone on something at the moment, and they've gone through exactly the same thing. So it's a common thing. So anyone listening has that, don't think you're alone. It is a common thing, mate. So right, we let's start talk about all call signs then, mate. Tell us about how it came about. So basically, it's a charity that you guys are set up down there, doing a lot of amazing work, and we'll talk about that work. But how did it come to be?
So I guess moving on from like kind of nearly looking at going to Nick, I then decided I was going to sort my life out. Enrolled on Open University, went into the corporate space, did all right. Kind of hated life a little bit though, because it just wasn't what I was used to. But I knew that I had to screw the nut. I had a little boy by this point,
Right.
and was doing all right. 2018, one of the lads that we served with went missing. It went out on social media and said that he'd gone off grid and he wasn't good. So I joined in and helped out with a search party where loads of people got together to try and find him. And after about 3 days of looking, we all appeared at a pub by a local beauty spot in the morning, and the news broke that he'd passed away.
By his
He'd
own
taken his own life. Yeah, it was really rough. And he was a great guy. Like, he served with us in unit. He then went on to a special forces unit and spent a good few years with them. And probably if you were to line up a group of blokes that you served with and you were to like point three who you think would struggle, he like not 100 people wouldn't have pointed them out in my eyes. So it really kind of rocked me. And I'd already been diagnosed and was going through treatment for PTSD myself at the time. SJ, who started All Call Signs with me, it was his kind of brainchild, and he's a web developer by trade, and he's done a lot of work in America training people to build websites and stuff. And he said, there's a real, over a conversation that we'd had, I had been to counselling locally in Portsmouth and got put in front of a newly kind of qualified psychotherapist. She was brilliant, she was epic, but once we'd got through the meat and bones and she was like, right, scale of 1 to 10, what's your worst things? Scored them. She's like, right, go in. I started telling her about events that happened in Afghanistan, like dismemberment, firefights, the feeling of disappointment, like survivor guilt, like all this stuff. And she just literally broke down and was in tatters. And I was then like, are you okay, hun? Like giving her a hug. Like, yeah. I ended up looking after her. So we were like, do you know, the only people that are best to kind of console you and listen to you are people that have been there, like what we're doing now, mate. So the idea and the concept came about to start a peer support network that could be there 24 hours a day, that at a touch of a button, you could press it and be paired with someone either in uniform or who's been in uniform, who knows what you've done and have been where you've been, instead of being like, oh yeah, I watched Band of Brothers once, that must be horrible. Well, no, actually, you don't fucking get it, and you never will. Whereas someone who's like, oh yeah, I was out there 6 months before you, mate. Horrendous time. Do you remember the school here? Do you remember that? Yeah, I do. Your barriers are down, and you're already talking to the individual.
Yeah. No, I think that's important, mate. Like, I got very lucky with the therapist that I had, you know, when I did my PTSD, because I think, you know, I've always felt like a bit of an outsider in the army anyway, because I came from uni. I came from, like, I was, you know, like, so I've always felt like, so I don't feel like I had that as much of a shell up as a lot of the blokes do, but I can definitely see that's an important thing. And 100%, I'd much rather talk about it with people that have actually been there. Because the thing is, mate, like, if you've been there with someone that's been there, or sorry, you're talking with someone that's been there, they can prompt you with stuff rather than, like, because it's no fault of the therapist or whatever, but they don't know what to go for. They don't know what to look for, like, but like someone that's been there, they'll know those little things to kind of pull out of you, and you don't necessarily have to say everything yourself. They can say it, and then be like, "Do you feel that?" And you all you have to say is, "Yeah," and then that admission then will start the ball rolling. But I think that's really, really kind of important, mate. So what kind of stuff are you? What's all call signs look like on a day to day? I want to talk about the beacon system as well. So.
Yeah, so probably after the Chat Now function that we launched Beacon, which again was born out of Dan going missing. So the police, the thin blue line's just getting thinner, and we found it quite difficult trying to work with and liaise with the police, because what we had was a load of people that wanted to come forward and help, veterans that have kind of got some experience of search, they know how to cover arduous ground and they can take direction. But there was no real joined up work with the police going, right, go here, do this. And it just seemed really disjointed and a bit messy. So we use a thing called Beacon, where we use an AI code on top of Facebook. Someone comes to us and says, private blogs, ex Royal Welsh missing from this area. Here's a police reference number. Has written a note to his mum and said that he's done and he's gone. We then use a messenger bot system to send it to all of our subscribers on Facebook as a instant message. So it pings like a text message on your phone, and at the press of one button, you can share it to your Facebook. We can get 3 million views on a post within 24 hours by using this system. Beacon's been launched 96 times now. So we're 2 years old, and we didn't launch that at the start. So probably in a year and a half,
right,
maybe a little over 18 months. 96 times we've launched Beacon, and we've had 90 successful results where we've recovered veterans, brought them home to their families alive, and then supported them with therapy and kind of peer support moving forward.
That's amazing, mate. I think that's amazing as well that you're not just like, right, come on, right, come back, and then that's it. You know what I mean? It's then that follow through on the back end to make sure it doesn't happen again. That's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, so that was another thing that come out of it, is we found that far too many people were reaching out to the normal channels for support, and they were being told that it was 6 to 12 weeks before they'd get a call back, or because they weren't diagnosed within service, they didn't qualify for support for certain avenues. So we now partnered with the BACP, and we can provide clinical therapy paid for by all call signs. And we've massively cut down that, expedited those wait times. So from someone coming forward and self-referring, for us getting them an assessment into talking therapy, maximum would be 2 weeks.
Right. So you and I think it was about a year ago that we went to Chelsea Barracks and we talked with a couple of ministers and stuff. It's about a year ago now, isn't it? Which again is mental how fast that's gone. When we went there, I was impressed how a couple of Lance Corporals basically just chinned everyone else off and we took over all the questioning. But do you think anything's changed since then, mate? Or do you think, like, when you say stuff to when you bring up these concerns to politicians, do you, like, how are you finding it? Because I know you do, like, you're very good about, getting these concerns out to the government. How are you finding things? Are you getting? Is there funding? Do you know what I mean? Do you see is there funding coming? And so.
Yeah, there is. There is funding coming. I think that thing in Chelsea Barracks was all smoke and mirrors, wasn't it? It was they were trying to appoint the PM, and that was just Jeremy Hunt getting his face out there in the right places.
Although he did was it you and you're like, Jezza, not Jezza, but Jeremy photo. He didn't know how to take it. Like when you see someone like that, mate, it's almost like he didn't know how to take, because once it was outside of that controlled environment, he didn't know how to take just 3 people coming up to him being like, hey, let's go get a selfie. Do you know what I mean?
But he didn't like me at all, because if you remember rightly, I was on the Victoria Derbyshire show before him, and she called me Dave and not Dan. So I said to him, don't take it personally. Victoria Derbyshire got my name wrong on live TV too. And he just was like, I've misread this situation, extract.
Yeah. Well, mate, I don't think they're that well known for taking a joke, are they? But yeah, that's the problem, because that's my issue, mate. Like, that's why I don't really bother with stuff like that, because I'm thinking time would be better spent doing something else, because you could just see it kind of just going over there. You're saying it, and they're just going over your head. You think, you're not fucking listening, because none of them
Who's a good voice actually in the space? It's Johnny Mercer.
Yeah, well, I'll come back to Johnny, but just for the people listening now. Like, right now, I got a fucking notebook in front of me, because if you're saying, one, we're recording a podcast, I got a notebook. When they came in and they're like, oh, yes, tell us what you need for, all this. I'm thinking, you cunts haven't even got your fucking notebooks out. Like, you're going to listen to what 20 different people are telling you for an hour, and you're going to remember it all. You're getting your fucking bike, shag. I'm not fucking buying what you're selling. But yeah, sorry, man, I'm just dragging you into my revolution that I got going on at the moment. So don't worry about
that. I'm there.
There'll be funds, mate. When the revolution's over and I've reappropriated funds, there'll definitely be some in there for all call signs. So like people listening now, people are going to be saying, I like this, Dan. I like the sound of all call signs. What can I do to get behind them?
So anyone can follow our Beacon network. So the more people we have on Beacon, so I think at the moment we have about 9,000 people signed up to Beacon. And that can equate to 3 million views within 24 hours. And it's a punchy statement, but we typically don't see beacons lasting over 24 hours now, just because of the volume and how quickly we can get it out there. We get them recovered and back in. If you're in service or you're a veteran, or even kind of a family member of a veteran with a skill set, like you are a psychologist, you are a therapist, we're very transparent and say that no one is an expert. We've just been there and we know it, and we're going to tell you about our experiences. You can sign up to be a listener. I think we were at 500 listeners before COVID-19, knowing how much people are going to be struggling. We opened that platform up again, and I've got about 700 volunteers manning that listener network 24/7.
That's fantastic, man.
Yeah, so I mean, we've got a clothing range online that we that's basically how we support the core team and support ourselves. Both myself and SJ are kind of paid in this role. We'd love to do it for love, but
you gotta eat, mate. You gotta eat.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta fucking eat, mate.
Our merchandise sales cover that. We've got some pretty decent kit actually that does really well online. Really, really good traction at the moment with the 25 press up challenge. People buying it, talking about it, and promoting it, which is really, really great.
You got sexy. You got a really sexy logo. It's a very cool logo. I forgot to wear my jumper today. Well, I didn't forget to wear it. It's nice weather, so I wore a t-shirt. But I do have a jumper myself, which I took off your body.
You did, yeah, in London.
Just because I took it for the scent, mate, but I kept it for the alliness. Wait, so you mentioned lockdown there, mate. How are things going on the? How have you seen an increase on the since we've been locked down? I'm guessing.
So we preempted it. We kind of knew it was going to happen. The general perception, everyone was going to get busier. 75% we've gone up now in the amount of people that come through. So to put that in numbers, the chat now function pairs with WhatsApp. So if you press the button and you get paired with me, we go off to WhatsApp and we chat.
Wow.
We typically see 50 new conversations a week.
So that's new. Through. So by new conversations, you mean that's a new person asking for help?
Yeah. So 50 new a week, and that's gone up to 120.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what kind of I mean, obviously, I wouldn't ask you to divulge specifics, but is it financial stress is causing it? Is it loneliness? What are the kind of the things that we're seeing so people can? Because what I want to do, mate, is that anyone who's listening to this right now, we can kind of preempt them getting to that situation.
Yeah. So 3 trends that I've seen probably since COVID-19 are people that are struggling financially because they're not working and money's an issue because they're furloughed or they're self-employed and they haven't been able or weren't aware of avenues to get money. So then we have partnered with other organizations where we get shopping sent out and advice on debt management and income to individuals. Another big one's relationship breakdown. So people have been locked in, they've had Barneys, and their relationships are breaking down. That's from short relationships all the way up to long-term marriages. So then we're looking at kind of getting people rehomed, getting people moved out, deposits paid while all this has been happening. And then you've got the people that have got kind of underlying mental health issues. They're normally pretty on top of it. They work really hard at their mental wellness, but this pressure cooker environment of being locked in, not seeing people, has just it escalated their symptoms and they're really struggling and they now feel like they're spiraling. So that's probably the 3 biggest trends we've seen.
The relationship breakdown one in particular I find very interesting because usually when I hear about someone gets in touch with me and it'll be someone I know and go, oh mate, I'm having a really bad time, all this, and I'm like, you've broken up with another girl, haven't you? Yeah, but I'm like, right. So I'm like, let's address this, right? Let's address this right now. It's all right to be fucking upset when you break up with a girl. One of the things is, I think people are starting to accept now that it's all right to have PTSD, it's all right to have war wounds that are mental. But a lot of lads still don't want to admit that a girl breaks their heart. Mm-hmm. So I think one of the things I find with some people that I know in particular, and I've had the problems as well, is be like, you have a bad breakup, and then because the PTSD and stuff's always there, and then if you're not dealing well with one area of your mental health, the others will deteriorate. Yeah. But it's easier to go, it's the war, rather than to go, well, maybe it's that fucking girl that cheated on you, or the boy that cheated on you, or the fact that they've left and you're not seeing your kid. because it's easier to go, it's war, because it almost sounds more acceptable to be like, well, that's, it's from a quote unquote, because I don't believe this, but quote unquote manly kind of thing that happened.
Yeah.
So we need to let go of all it. All mental health is equal, all of it is equal. It doesn't matter where it's coming from. If you're fucking feeling like shit because your missus left you, it's all right. It's all right to feel like shit. You don't need to do like because, and the reason that's important is because when you do go for treatment, if you pretend or not, and I'm not saying pretend, but if you're not addressing that that's what's causing you misery, you won't be able to fix it. You have to front up about these and own it. Because like the financial one, mate, but it speaks for itself, doesn't it, really? But I think this relationship one is really important because, let's be honest, mate, as squaddies, we don't always do the best job of picking our partners. I think that's fair to say, right?
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I'd have to agree.
Might run into things a bit quickly, You might have I think lads run into things quickly. And here's the other thing: our idea of conflict, because I'm not saying it's the partner's fault. Our ideas of conflict resolution aren't always the best. It turns out that treating your missus like you would do Joe Crow, giving her the fucking backhand, it's not the best way to do. It's not the best way to deal with relationship problems. What do you reckon about that?
Yeah, no, for natural leaders as well. I think in relationships we're really, really poor communicators, especially if you've got. So it's taken me a long time to learn to communicate how kind of my PTSD affects me, instead of just and understanding that it doesn't just affect me, it affects the people around me. So like my children, my partner. And letting them know and communicating instead of just going off and being non-communicado and sulking for 2 days. Yeah. Just put it out there and be like, I'm not good, give me space. Because if you're just snapping and biting at people and being like, get out, it's not just you that it affects. And I think that we can be quite insular and kind of like, well, this affects me. Well, actually, it affects a lot of people around you. And everyone. How you communicate and manage that, in essence, is how you manage that. If you've got a good support network around you, but you're forever just nipping at them and chipping away at them because you're snapped.
Yeah. Mate, I got
the best person in the world.
I felt snapped the other day because I read, I was reading about some suicides of people that I knew. Not like they weren't mates of mine, but like I knew them and we talk, and I ended up fucking having a fight with my brother because it was the ripple. Like on any other day, I wouldn't have. But there's ripples from all these things, and you have to be aware of it. And you go, oh well, I'll take myself out of the picture so I'm not causing ripples. But that's still causing ripples. And like you're saying, you have to. There has to be this, there has to be this addressing things, right? I've been very vocal at the moment about people getting outside, getting exercise, obviously taking precautions. Don't be licking turnstiles, and don't be like. Being a fucking idiot about it. Keep your dog on a lead, all that kind of stuff. And by the way, pick your fucking rubbish up, because if I catch the fuckers who've been dropping rubbish by the waterfall by miles, I'm gonna fucking stab you. Just putting that one out there. Well, you will be drowned in the waterfall.
Recorded threats to kill. I can't see that going wrong with you.
But the mate, if someone does get it there, then I'm right scrubbing this bit. but like. Mate, we're supposed to get exercise. We're supposed to be out. We need exercise. We need outdoors. We need sunlight, and we need some kind of community as well. Like this face to face now, mate. It's made me happy.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see you grid.
Yeah, but people need to have this stuff. What are your kind of, just to take us home on this bad boy? What are some of your top tips? If you were to knife on people now and give them top tips about mental health. In lockdown and out of lockdown, what would you recommend people do?
Good question. So first off is we all think about mental health when it's bad. We only ever talk about mental health when someone's got poor mental health. When in actual fact, every single person roaming this blue marble has mental health, and we don't work on it when it's good. So tomorrow, unless you're an absolute machine, you probably couldn't turn up and run a marathon just off the bat and smash it out. You have to work. You have to build up to that. Now, your mental health should be held in the same regard, in the fact that you should be working on it every day. Now, I'm not saying turn into Hare Krishna and start smashing out yoga at 5 o'clock in the morning, but you can do little things that have a huge positive impact. Exercise, for instance, like you're saying, go out for, I don't care what physical state you're in, you could go out for a 15, 20-minute walk. You get out, you're active, you're getting fresh air, and you're releasing endorphins around your body. And that's right the way up to absolute ninja triathletes that go out for 50-mile bike rides. Horses for courses, whatever suits you. That's it. At the moment, limit your exposure to things like press and negativity. There is so much of it out there on Facebook, people surrounding you, the news, the media outlets. Some weeks ago, I made a conscious decision that I don't watch television. I will tune in to the COVID update, and that is all I watch, because you're just saturated with negativity and poison. And that lends itself to surround yourself with people that are on the same wavelength and preach positivity. I caught up with a couple of veterans over the weekend on the phone and heard about amazing stuff they're doing. They're being really successful and they're doing really, really great things. And I came off it like I'd almost stolen their energy. I felt charged. I felt fired. And I was like, right, where am I going? Let's just move it forward. Because it feeds off people. If you're surrounded by people all the time, like Karen46 from Facebook, who's like, oh, everyone's dying, it's 5G masks.
Karen46.
It's just going to affect you, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
So surround yourself by them people. And I guess don't feel bad about using this time to stop, be still, take your condor moment and reassess. Just because you've got a plan, it doesn't matter if you change that up or divert slightly. If you're still heading towards the same goal, if you need to reassess that and go, okay, I gave myself a year to do this, but that's not working, then set yourself 2 years, but set yourself mini goals, achievable mini goals. Probably the biggest thing that people fail, say COVID-19, I'm going to lose 2 stone. Well, set yourself mini goals, because that's a big, big jump. If you set yourself achievable little mini goals along the way, one, it keeps you more engaged and entertained, because as soon as you tick off, I've lost 5 pounds, boom, that's in the box. I feel brilliant. I'm definitely going to strive towards the next one. Probably one of the biggest things I see is people coming through going, oh, I was going to learn German, I was going to get a new job, and I was going to get married by the age I'm 30. Well, actually, strip all that away. What's important? Job. Let's get the job. The rest comes. So set yourself really achievable targets and don't try and overwhelm yourself or beat yourself up, because failure is part of the journey as well. Don't be afraid to fail. I've learned some of my biggest lessons from failing at stuff. We're all too good at looking at Instagram and seeing how amazing everyone's life is. They're driving around in 80 grand cars, living in massive houses. Mate, people have failed to get there. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. You're never going to learn to fly if you don't jump.
Mate, it was fucking mega. We're going to end the podcast there. Where can people find you? That was fucking mega, mate. That's it. Where can people find you?
So all over Facebook and Instagram. So it's allcallsigns.org is the webpage. You'll find that on Facebook. We're on Twitter and Instagram. And I am Dan228 on Insta. And I'll be putting loads of stuff out there this week for mental health awareness.
Are you on TikTok?
Absolutely not.
Get on fucking TikTok, mate. I want to see you dance. I want to see you jiggle that ass.
It's not happening.
Yeah. Bro, I love you, mate. Thanks so much for coming on. Thank you for the work that you do. I'm speaking on behalf of all people of the world. Why not expand it? When I say thank you so much for the work that you do, mate, it's because of people like you. I keep saying this, mate. The veteran community gets some shit sometimes. I think the veteran community should be the strongest community when it comes to charity, when it comes to business, when it comes to sports, everything. We could fucking dominate everything. And it's awesome to see guys who have been there and done it leading the way. So thank you so much, bro. And guys, listeners, stick around. I'll be back in a second, but I'm going to stay on the line to Dan for a minute. I'll catch you guys in a sec. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, guys. Dan is an absolute legend, isn't he, really? Absolute legend. And I want to give a shout out to SJ2, who's also at All Call Signs. Couldn't be with us on the call, but he was with us in spirit, probably looking down at us like, Mufasa, like looking down over, what was the other one called? Shit, I can't even remember. Simba, that was it. Right. Make sure you check him out. At All Call Signs. Don't know what's happening there. Possibly a stroke. Please send help. Actually, it'll be too late by the time this goes out. if I was mini stroke, then I love you all and thanks for coming. Please let my legacy live on by supporting the book Brothers in Arms, which is available to pre-order now. As I mentioned earlier, if we all pre-order, it'll go high up the bestseller list. I think that'll be pretty fucking alley because the book has a lot of unpolitically correct stuff in there, and it'd be quite good to knock some of them fucking cooking books. What the fuck is going on with me? Cooking books. Be good to knock a cooking book off the bestseller list. I promise you, my writing words are better than my speaking words. Brothers in Arms. Guys, thank you so much for listening. I'm going to go and have a lie down, a little nap, and then we will be back on Thursday with the next episode featuring a United States Army Ranger who's been in Iraq, Afghanistan, and done a lot of alley shit. I will catch you then. I fucking love you all. I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Cheers. Bye.
Yeah. Listen. Shout out Teaser. You told me not to worry, and you wouldn't break my heart. You told me you were sorry, yeah, my whole world fell apart. You said it's not my fault, and yeah, I've never done you wrong. I'm grinding to a halt, now I can see you're moving on. I promised I'd get better, and I told you things would change. You keep me to the gutter, yeah, I'll never be the same. I've gotta let you go, now live your life and spread your wings. And yeah, you put on quite a show, and pulled the puppet strings. And are you sure that you don't want me? Remember all the pain, or maybe you should thank me. It's your loss and my gain. I'm leaving now forever, I won't hang my head in shame. But yeah, you've taken me for granted, and you should feel ashamed. You sold a dream to all of us, a dream that we'd all die for, a reason for us all to live and something we could fight for. I might just help a man up to his feet or hold a newborn, but no matter what I do, my hands remembering my rifle, yeah.
Life's hard, I know that, still wouldn't change shit. I wouldn't go back, yeah, I wouldn't go back. Feelings I hold back, memories fade, yeah, they go fast, yeah, they go fast. Good times that come and go, survive the highs and lows, just take it step by step, I guess, yeah, I suppose. Good times that come and go, survive the highs and lows, just take it step by step, I guess, yeah, I suppose.